funds support the activity? And how can we expect from the private sector's involvement with this? Today, we would invite 3 panelists to cover all related issues. The first one has been Masato and Takamatsu-san. And actually, he asked me to just call him in Chinese, the Gaosong Xiansheng, Mr. Gaosong. I think this is easier for me. And we can tell from the background information about Gaosong Xiansheng. He is experienced in international and regional coordination, especially to handle the disaster management. So this time, this has happened to be the issues also placed on very high policy level for Taiwan too. And this time, we invite him to share with us how can the issue be driven by the international, regional, or local coordination. And the second one we are going to invite has been, we all know him already, Dr. Wang. And he was presiding the last session, so I think I can save the time, don't need to introduce him again. And the topic is going to cover has been the finance. We all know that the green finance played a crucial role and even caused a problem that whether or not we can really generate the so-called Paris Agreement because of the financial issues. And this time, we would like to invite him to introduce to all the people and our attendee today about what the financial issues could be solved through this public or private collaborations. And the third one has been another guy Wang. And I've known him for about more than 20 years. Ever since he worked for the Council of the Sustainable Development. And recently, he focused on how to drive the private sectors, the business sectors, to get involved with the issues. We all know that we cannot count on the government financial support for all the issues like this. And in the FCCC, we all know that for the adaptation, it's something that we live for the market mechanism. So that's why the Paris Agreement also care about the non-market mechanism. And when we talk about that, then we need to turn to whole society. How can we inspire or encourage the private sectors to get involved with this, and so that we can find enough support to back up our work in tackling the issues that brought to us through the climate change. And now let's welcome Mr. Gaosong to be our first panelist.
Thank you, Dr. Fan, for the introduction. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very honored to share with you some of my knowledge and expertise about disaster risk management today. But before my presentation, I would like to take a few seconds to share to express my sincere gratitude for the Taiwanese people's contribution after we experienced the great Eastern Japan earthquake 5 years ago. You were so quick to respond to it, and you donated enormous amount of money and also dispatched the rescue team to support our recovery from disaster. Thank you very much for that. Well, today, even though I'm from the private sector and I spent nearly 35 years in the travel and tourism sector, I'm representing this organization, UNISDR. Anybody here have heard of this organization, UNISDR, the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction? Please raise your hand. Thank you very much. You. Great. Yes. And for those who did not raise your hands, it's part of the United Nations Secretariat, and it is to serve the local focal point of the United Nations system for coordination of disaster reduction and ensuring synergies among the disaster reduction activities of the United Nations system and regional organizations and activities in socio-economic and humanitarian fields. mandate of the UNFCCC. And this gentleman is the boss of this organization. And there's quite the UNFCCC's activity is very relevant to UNFCCC because from both sides, the disaster prevention or resilience is shared in the scope of their activities. And in fact, this chart shows the number of people affected by the weather-related disasters over the last 20 years. 2.3 billion people affected by flood. It's not billion, 2.3 billion. And 660 million by storm and 1.1 billion by drought. So you can see how the disaster is so related to the climate change. And within this organization, there is the private sector network called ARISE. That stands for UNISD, Private Sector Alliance for Disaster Resilient Societies. And it's a UNISD-led network of private sector entities like ours. And we voluntarily come to align with this framework, which is the framework of the resilience, the disaster risk reduction, agreed just last year in Sendai, Japan. The overall goal of the initiatives to create resilient societies and to achieve the outcomes and goals set by the Sendai framework. So there are 7 work streams within this ARISE organization. Number 1, disaster risk management strategies, investment metrics, and benchmarking and standards, education training, legal and regulatory, urban risk reduction, resilience, and insurance. Insurance is also very important when we think about the resilience. Now, this is just a brief introduction of the organization I'm working in. And today I'd like to share with you 2 best practices of the private sector in disaster risk management. Well, the first case is SM Prime, that is the largest shopping mall operator in the Philippines. They have some the malls outside of the Philippines, like in mainland China and other places in Asia. And the company mission reads, we will serve the ever-changing needs and aspirations of our customers, provide opportunities for professional growth of the employees, foster social responsibility in the communities we serve, enhance shareholders' value for, of course, for the companies, and ensure that everything we do safeguards the healthy environment for future generations. So clearly, the company states that it is their responsibility to work with the communities. Let's look what they did actually do. This gentleman right here is a former president. He just stepped down from the presidency 2 months ago, and now serves as one of the directors of the board, and Mr. Han Si. And he says that the safety of the communities, employees, customers, and the facility structure remain top priority in all SM Prime developments. The safety of the community is the top priority for business. As I tell my design teams every so frequently, ensuring safety is the only way I can sleep well. And he also added, it allows us to serve our communities better, to increase our value, and to make us more profitable. But most of all, disaster resilience ensures the safety of our customers and the communities we operate. So what he's saying here is that they're not doing this as charity. It's a strategic it is included in their strategy. Because investing on the safety of the community leads to the profitability of the operation. And one of the example is there one of the malls in just outskirts of the Manila, the city Marikina. And this is the mall that contributes to flat risk reduction for community. There's a river, and this river, Marikina River, is identified as the high-risk zone that should prepare for the flooding and topographical changes. So whenever they have a heavy rain or typhoon storm, the whole community experiences a flood. Sometimes 8 meter, 10 meter high water. And as a mall, they built a shopping mall, a huge shopping mall, right on the river. Wow. Flood resilience construction. So when they decided to build this mall in a very risky location, they were working alongside specialists and local authorities. SM Prime built a mall 90 meters farther from the Marikina River on concrete stilts. And this reduces the risk of damage to the property and ensures the safety of the mall goers, considering historical flood levels. So that's successful implementation of our business continuity plan, enabling all tenants to operate and serve the needs of those seeking shelter in the mall until the flood subsides. So you can see the two layers of the parking lot. And this is the inside of the parking lot. And the SM Prime constructed the first floor as in Marikina as parking areas without wall enclosures. So it's open, just the pillars. The upper parking level was constructed at an elevation of 20.5 meters high from the riverbed. During extreme flood, the parking floors are vacated and supporting sills allow for the free flow of water. So water just goes through the parking areas so that there's no damage to the mall building itself. Mall business units continue to operate safely, even in flood. So this is the picture of when they had a flood. So the whole area is covered with water, flooded water, but the mall remained in normal operation. So this is how communities look like. So people just evacuated to the bridge. And the mall became refuge for the stranded people and food seekers. SM Marikina also served as a refuge area for 1,400 people stranded in the flood waters during the storm. Also became a repacking center for relief goods. So there are a couple of different ways they serve the community. They shelter the stranded people, and they keep providing food, necessities to the community people, and also when they have a flood or an emergency, it becomes a repacking center for relief goods. So relief goods just come in mass. So they can kind of repack them and deliver to the community people. Another case is from Japan. Convenience stores. And I see quite a few convenience stores in Taiwan as well, like 7-Elevens and Family Marts. And do you have any Lawsons here? No. Okay. Lawson is the second biggest convenience store operation chain in Japan after 7-Elevens. Anyway, Lawson has recently been certified by the government as the first convenience store chain contributing to the nation's resilience. This is the certificate in Japanese. And Lawson has comprehensive collaborating agreement with all the prefectures and major cities in Japan, including disaster response support agreement. So they made an agreement with every prefectures for these prefectures in Japan. This is a day after the earthquake 5 years ago in the convenience store. Nothing was left. Because after they experienced the major earthquake, the people dashed to these convenience stores and supermarkets to buy whatever's left to secure their food for the next few days. And three main roles of Lawson in response to major disasters includes, number one, continue business to maintain lifeline. When you talk about lifeline, it's always like a power line, power supply or water supply, or maybe communication. But Lawson or convenience store is not a lifeline. Because really, literally, supply the food or other necessity, really directly connected to life. And number two, assist public sector distributing emergency food. They are professional in distribution. So when they have relief goods from the rest of the country, they repack everything and deliver even to the smallest communities. And third, donation network. They have their own system to collect donations from the people and deliver to the needy. So the picture on the left-hand side is customers waiting in front of Lawson's store for reopening. That was 3 days after the quake. That means that Lawson reopened their operation only 3 days after the quake. After such a mess. So Lawson, after they experienced the major quake, they immediately activated emergency operation. As early as 4 minutes after the quake, Lawson activated emergency procedure and launched the emergency response headquarters. So the Lawson's primary mission at that time was to continue store operation and restore the disrupted distribution channel. Number one, they confirmed the damages to stores and food factories. They have food factories like they prepare food, onigiri, the rice bowl and obento, and things like that, and factories. Those factories are damaged. So they confirm the damages to the factory, which factories are still in operation. And they dispatched engineers to the physically damaged stores. Then another thing they did was carry food items from Western Japan that was not affected by the earthquake, and to devastate the region by chartered cargo flights and defense force aircraft. So they did anything they could think of, and they chartered the flights at their own expense. And they resumed the operation of the damaged food factories in East Japan so that they could supply the food to the stores. And Lawson supported the distribution of food and daily necessities to the affected area. The local national government can plan big picture, but they do not have enough skills and resources to distribute necessary items to the affected communities and shelters. See, the government can do things like this. They carry the necessities and food to the distribution center, but they have no resources and skills to deliver to each community. So, what we call what they call last 3 miles delivery. Through Lawson's 12,000 plus store network in Japan, the company collected donations from customers and created scholarships for high school students who are affected by the disaster, who had lost their houses or even family. So Lawson supports 1,090 youngsters by monthly providing 30,000 Japanese yen, which is equivalent to about 10,000 Taiwan dollar for the educational expenses. So this is another mission for Lawson. So with these two cases, I can conclude that business organization, the private sector, plan and act as a part of their corporate social responsibility. It's not charity, but included in the corporate strategy. Private sector places the crucial importance on disaster resilience, not as an additional cost, but as part of our core business strategy investment. And it allows us to serve our communities better, to become competitive, to increase our value, and to get more profitable. So, now is the time for private-public partnership. I intentionally use this word. It's a public-private partnership. Private-public partnership because this is a partnership driven by private sector in action and public sector in legal and institutional framework. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Mr. Gao. Well, through your very precise and very fruitful presentation that we learned from your experiences, how the NGO could support the disaster management from better bottom-up with the better bottom-up efforts, and also you present to us how the NGO could function as a key connecting points to connect the charitable donation with the demand, especially the refugee. And you also explained to us how important the NGO played a role in maintaining the life support line to encounter the possible threat from the disaster. And finally, you emphasized something very important for our references in the future. It's about the smart move to converge the concept of business strategy concerning CSR into the practices. And also, I think you expressed a very important idea to us about what does the public-private partnership mean. It means that, say, a partnership driven by private sector in action and the public sector in legal and institutional framework. I think each side should take the right position in formating this partnership. Otherwise, it can hardly reach the goal that we like to pursue. Okay, thank you very much again. And next, I would like to invite Dr. Wang again. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Fan. It's very nice to be back to deliver this talk. I recognize the limitation of time, so I will cut my presentation short. And this is what I'm going to talk about. But because of the time, I will cover only 1, 2, 3, and 5, okay, the conclusion. Okay. And part 4, that's the innovative green finance schemes that will not be addressed here. If you are interested in this topic, and I think most of you will be very interested in this, I would suggest you go to the website and download the DBT files. It covers a lot of experiences and case studies from many countries, including the United Kingdom, Norway, and some other countries, and also cover some of the financial mechanisms provided by the international organizations. Of course, in addition to that, introduction about what Taiwan is doing regarding providing financial assistance to our communities or the industries. Okay. And so, first part I would like to address is related to the shift from sustainable development to the green economy. And the point here is why green economy. And we know that 20 or 3 decades ago, sustainable development is one of the key points addressed in the international relation, the international community. But for some reasons, the goal of sustainable development was not achieved. Here in this country, it was regarded as failure after 20 years of implementation. Okay. And I will briefly introduce you to this. And the second reason for the importance of green economy is because starting from the new millennium, there are several new crises we encounter. Okay? And in order to mitigate the impact of this new crisis, we need do something different from what we have done before. And finally, I think after the financial tsunami that happens in the year 2008, the world financial crisis, we just learned a lot of lessons from the Green New agenda provided by, for example, the United Nations and other organizations. Okay. And so, sustainable development has evolved decades. Okay. And as I indicate here, there are several important references here. When I was a PhD student in the United States, we are required to go through all of these books, okay, in order to catch the idea about what we will encounter in the future. And so this provides some foundation for us to pay attention to the issue of sustainable development. And following that, a series of our international conferences, important conferences all related to sustainable development, and some of these are related to the green growth and the development of green industries as well. So because of this, in year 1987, the book was published, Our Common Future, and this provides a definition for the sustainable development. And following that, in 1990s, a lot of books and theories and policies were proposed to encourage the international community to pay more attention to the sustainable development. So among other countries, Taiwan has been doing very hard to implement policies for sustainable development in different sectors, in different ministries, including Ministry of Transportation, etc. All of them, okay. And so in the last few decades, the government has been working very hard in order to achieve the goal of sustainable development. Unfortunately, we didn't make it. Okay. There are, of course, several reasons for that. One of the important reasons is conceptual problems with the definition of sustainable development. The first one is, of course, what are the needs we need? What are the needs, in this definition? As we know, as human beings, there are a lot of needs we want, and which needs we are really talking about. And the second is, what will be the development models? The three-leg model, or the three-pillar model, like this, or the intersection model. That means all the three pillars are equally important, or the inclusive model, that is, environment is much more important than economy. As a matter of fact, in Taiwan, according to the environmental fundamental law, this is the model, inclusive model is the one we emphasize more. Okay, and another conceptual problem is, what is the generations we are talking about? Because in sustainable development, intergenerational equity is very important, but what is the scope of the generations we are talking about? For each point of time, we have different generations, and this situation will evolve for a long time, and which generations will we are concerned about, okay, or concerned most. Okay. And as an economist, the basic theory told us when there are more generations to cover in your policy initiation, then it's very difficult for you to realize the planned goal. In other words, you end up with some disappointment with the policy. Okay. And here is some evidence that we failed in the last few decades in terms of here in this diagram, the fiscal budget for different counties here in Taiwan. From this diagram, you can see that most of the counties are experiencing the deficit, okay, every year, and the situation is worsening, year after year. And also, we can see that the debt of the government increased over time, and also the share of domestic investment out of GDP is also declining. And all look at this economic indicators inform us that our effort in economic aspect is not successful. Okay. And here is employment rate for different ages of generations. And here we see that the unemployment rate increases substantially and never return. Okay. About 20 or 30 decades ago, Taiwan is very proud of its low unemployment rate. It's about 2% only. Okay. And from the economic point of view, it could be regarded as full employment, but not recently, okay, in the last 10 years. Finally, some social indicators. The first one here represents how long it will take for you to buy a house, given the GDP, okay, and the number of years increase over time. And this is the share, the proportion of the households with lower income and increase over time. And all of these indicators indicate that we have to do something different, okay, and this green economy and the development of green industries. Okay. And so another important reason why we have to do this is because we are facing new challenges in the millennium. And these new challenges include the new energy crisis, new food crisis, and the world financial crisis. Okay? And because of this, recently, a lot of books published telling us what our future will be. Let's collapse, the end of growth, crisis of sustainable development, and etc. So all of this tell us that we have to reconsider our policies implemented before to achieve, to pursue sustainable development. Okay. And thanks to the Green New Deal agenda, okay, a lot of policy proposal has been proposed. And this is one of the typical reports. It's a green economy report presented by the UNEP. And according to this report, several important innovative policy were initiated in different countries, including Taiwan. Okay. And in addition to the green report, there are some inspiration from the real prosperity. And I would like to mention two of the points, the highlights, two of the major views from this conference. The first one is the conference encourage business to continue to grow, okay, but to do so in an environmentally friendly way. Okay, this is very important. And secondly, it suggests that we need a shift from seeing the industry and wealth as the cause of environmental degradation to viewing them as a solution to environmental problems. And this is quite different from what we are doing here in Taiwan, which is governed by the environmental fundamental law. Okay. So next, we would like to talk a little bit about the green industry and investments. Okay. And what is the meaning of the development of green industry? Basically, two aspects. The first one is to greening of the existing industries. The second one is to create new industries, which is green. Okay. And so these are two of the directions we have to go simultaneously. Okay. And from the literature or from other studies, we already know that many of these green industries are related to energy industry, especially the green energy. Okay. And why energy is of great concern here? Simply not only because the recommendation from the experts, but also the linkage between energy and economic growth are very intimate. Here, this table shows us the energy consumption of energy plays a very important role to economic growth. On the contrary, on the other hand, economic growth also is a very important impetus to energy demand. So the interrelation between energy and growth requires much more attention to the issues related to energy. And so, because of this, much of the green investments are related to the development of new energy. And so, to pursue for the green growth, we need not only to improve the existing infrastructure, but also we have to have additional investment in order to drive the economic growth. And what are these? Okay, according to the Green Growth Report, based on the business as usual scenario, here we can see that tremendous investment, additional investments, annual investment are required in order to meet our demand. And here we can see that energy is also one of them, a very important one. And so here, one of the reasons why I emphasize very much on the energy sector is because of this. Okay. And last year, 2015, I think the total investment worldwide on the renewable energy has come to a record high. Okay, record high. And this is compared to previous years. And this situation, I believe, will continue in the near future. Okay. And from here, we can see that the total investment from developing countries has also dramatically increased over time, and now it's even greater, more than developed countries. Okay. And what are they? From this diagram, you can see that solar or photovoltaic and the wind power are the two main streams. Here in Taiwan, these are the two renewable energies that the government has invested most. Okay. And in addition to this, energy storage is also in investment options. Okay. Because the electricity supply generated by renewable energies is considered unstable, so the storage of electricity is very important for us. And so here, this diagram shows that this investment in the energy storage also increased dramatically. And although the development of energy storage techniques involves very difficult techniques, but a lot of countries are spending more and more budget to do research in this aspect. Okay. Some obstacles facing investors. In order to encourage the investment in these industries, we have to carefully consider what this investor might have in mind, especially the difficulties they might have. Well, this is a report from IIT. Okay. It tells us that for different manufacturers, okay, for different sectors, manufacturing, factory, retail, and services, there are several different obstacles. The first obstacle, as we can see, is finance. And so why I would like to address financing. And this is a very, very important topic. It represents one of the most difficult obstacles that the investor might have. Okay. If we take a look at the difficulties or the obstacles that different countries with different income level might have, here we can see that the finance and power and corruption, these three are the most important obstacles. If we consider Taiwan as the upper middle income country, then corruption is one of the very important issues. Power, of course. Now the government is fighting very serious and very hard in order to avoid electricity interruption, okay, especially for next year. Whether or not From here, we can imagine how important the finance is and the power and electricity or the electricity supply or the energy security is so important to us in order to achieve green growth and green economy. And the problem is with Taiwan. I try to identify several important aspects for this, but unfortunately I don't have time to go through this. That's including the international participation and conflicting politics, industrial liberalization, policy and market failures, green competitiveness, investment and fiscal crisis, coordination and harmonization, scarcity and efficiency, etc. So I will not go through this. But finally, there are some points related to the programs we have. That's the first one is the limited access to international funds, okay, and also the preventing financing schemes we now have ignore the golden rule. In other words, to create incentives for the private financial sector to provide funding. One of the necessary conditions is it must be profit, that the investment must be profitable. Okay. Without this condition, then the willingness from the private sector will be very limited. This is exactly the case here in Taiwan. So we have a lot of programs here, and in complete enforcement of the regulations is also another one. For example, we have the Energy Tax Act, so we have the act that the authority, Ministry of Finance, is reluctant to implement this because of the bad economic condition and also some others. Okay. And finally, I would like to mention that harmonization of policy instruments is extremely important. Here, we can see that the policy instruments could not be harmonized at all. Sometimes compared to each other. So this is the difficulty we have to resolve in the near future. And negative effects of FIT. FIT is one of the most important instruments taken by many countries to encourage the investment of green energy. Unfortunately, FIT has a tremendous negative effects as well. This is one of the points we have to keep in mind. Okay? So we couldn't rely solely on FIT in the future. Okay? Some concluding remarks, many of them. So please go to the PowerPoints I presented put in the website. The first one, I just go through it. We call it the priority of green investments. Right now, we are trying to invest more on solar and wind power. Unfortunately, those investments are simply to generate electricity and sell the Taiwan company, the monopolist company here in Taiwan. But this is not what we should do right now. I think the first priority we have to go is to enhance or strengthen our R&D capacity to invent new technologies or new equipment that is adaptable to our environment here in this area or even in Southeastern Asia. And the second is accelerate innovations toward green economy, harmonize policy instruments, and this is a very important one. Otherwise, what we are doing is simply not cost effective at all. Okay. Reduce risk of green investment. That's really important. As we can see right now, the investment in renewable energy involves a lot of risk. This includes policy risk, institutional risk, social risk, and some other technical risk, etc. And all of them. So we have to clearly identify what kind of risk we are facing and how can we mitigate this risk. Okay, that's it. I think very important. And final point I would like to emphasize to strengthen the linkage between the energy policy, green energy policy, and the macroeconomic policy. This is the point that we always ignore previously, and I think in order to make our green policy more effective, the linkage is definitely one. Okay, thank you very much for listening.
Well, I think it's really too informative, so I really need to go to check on the PowerPoint provided by the organizer, I think. Yeah, and in Dr. Huang's presentation, basically he presented to us what's the evolving of the sustainable development, and he highlighted that yes, it's been placed on the high in Taiwan too, but unfortunately because of some of the definitive figure out some issues for that, for our references. On the other hand, he also figured out the possible solution that might be able to tackle the issues that are ahead of us. Especially, he emphasized how to turn the green growth into the new industry that could be promoted through some of our efforts. For instance, he emphasized about some report that give us some example for our consideration too. And it says all this striving to promote the green industry has been closely related to green energy too. So he turned to the importance about the investment issues too. And he thinks that the green growth should come on in addition to the infrastructure development and also the additional investment. And especially he referred to the importance of renewable energy development in this regard. And then he also figured out some of the obstacles that place the restraint on our goal to encourage the development of new strategy or energy technology. And finally, he figured out the importance of the market conditions, especially he emphasized a lot about the issues encountered recently in Taiwan. It's about the market, the electricity market liberalizations. And also, he cast some doubt on the effectiveness of the FIT, and also he thinks that the growth, the government need to consider how to mobilize the business investment into the area, especially when the renewable energies investment globally has been double or triple recently. And in any way, I think what Dr. Huang says much more than that I can summarize. So let's refer to whatever point he did for us in the future. So for the last one, I would like to introduce another Dr. Huang. So he would just present the case from how the business sectors could get involved in this. I think it's good context to Dr. Huang's presentation.
Thank you so much, moderator, Professor Fan, and also we have too many Dr. Wang. So ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, it's my honor to give a talk. Just pretty very short, only 8 slides. I will keep my message very simple and stupid. 2 key messages. One message, how business role in the local development. Second message, how to engage business to make things happen. What kind of things low carbon future. This slide has been already illustrated in the next 3, 4, 5 decades. What kind of economy is going to be the case for our future development on this planet? After the year of 2008 financial crisis, after the shale gas can be extracted in a much more cost-effective way, after Paris Agreement, so low carbon development has become the real things. So according to the Paris Agreement, after 2050, the whole world should reach one status that has been called carbon neutral. So in the next 35 years, a lot of challenges will become pretty real. If we don't make things happen, then we will need what Mr. Gaoson, he introduced 2 cases, the business role in climate disaster relief. So after 2050, carbon neutral has to be achieved. So this agreement has been delivered a lot of very clear signal to business. So 4 key messages on this slide. The first one, that the global economy will evolve to a low carbon model. Second, investors will look more closely at climate-related risk and opportunity. So when we look at climate change challenges, some people just look at it in terms of ethical, ethics. Some people look at the risk, disaster. Some people look at this problem in terms of livelihood. But a lot of developed countries, especially the leading company, they look at this issue in terms of opportunity and competitiveness. So the third key message on this slide says a clean technology, so-called clean tech, make it short. You will see a lot of incredible investment on clean tech from now on. No matter where it is around the world, in Taiwan, in Japan, Korea, Scandinavia, United States, even China. So clean technology development will attract a lot of attention from the investors. And number 4, the pressure will grow for business to get 2-degree future world. And international carbon market will emerge. So carbon is going to have the price. So what kind of situation is going to happen within virtual period of time? Maybe you are fully aware of climate change or not. A massive transition to the low carbon economy. So we need somebody to make it happen, to make the low carbon transformation happen. Without business, it is not possible. According to the INDC submission, based on the country who has already ratified the Paris Agreement, IEA's evaluation has demonstrated a 60% carbon reduction based on the INDC submission will be achieved and implemented by business. So without business involvement in low carbon transformation, it's not possible for us to get rid of the climate change challenges. So if we want to reach the 2-degree world, if we need a smarter and carbon neutral future, then we need business to take the lead. A lot of countries, actually, including Taiwan, we don't provide a good, implementable, operationable, make sense mechanism for engaging business, for how to make the future game rules effective and workable, reaching a low carbon future. Last year, United Nations also announced another set of new goals within 169 targets, that's so-called Sustainable Development Goals. 17 goals, 15 the practical specific focus, and another 16 is peace and justice. And 17 is the partnership. Nobody can do it alone if we want to live through our 21st century. No matter that is because of the climate change challenge or the social instability caused by, for example, poverty, hunger, no water, health issues, and even a lot of religious conflicts. So what business can do? Businesses should set up the science-based target, carbon reduction target, based on the 2-degree centigrade future world. The business need to invest a lot in low carbon innovation. Business need to utilize renewable energy, and business need to implement very precisely so-called carbon accounting to help each country to make carbon emission. Those kind of data can be applicable for us to set up the making sense policy framework for the whole world's carbon reduction. So we need business organization and alliance for engaging the different kind of sectors of business together to take the carbon reduction action. So here are several business organizations around the world, including the World Business Council for Sustainable Development based in Geneva, and series based in the United States for U.S. banker. And women business right now based in London. They engage a lot of business regard the climate challenge as the future business for making huge profits, for helping the whole world to reach a low carbon future. And we need technology. Who are the solution provider? Business are the solution provider for low carbon technology. So without business, again, the policy framework for reducing carbon emission is almost impossible. We need money. If we want to have a better investment, better technology, better whole, smarter and low carbon community or city, we need money. So we need climate finance, corporate finance, project finance, all kind of money that is helpful for reducing the carbon emission or adaptation will be all required. Who can offer the finance for a low carbon future? Financial sector, assets owner. Here in this country and a lot of countries, again, the same situation happened. The government set a lot of very good policy framework for reaching 2-degree trajectory, the future world, but no engagement for the money offering institutional investors. So financial institutions play a very, very vital role. If we don't let them in, it's not possible. So we need to identify very clearly the business role for our low carbon future. Then we also need to identify who are the solution providers for the clean tech, for helping us to reach the 2-degree future. And we need a mechanism. And this mechanism is very important because without this kind of mechanism for engaging private sector, especially the business, the technology supplier, solution provider, money provider, it is not possible for us to survive throughout 21st centuries. So there are two suggestions. The business should create a climate-related alliance to make the business voice louder. How business can help the government and society to reach a low carbon community in the near future. And then we also need to make the voice very loudly to the government who is designing the game rule in a low carbon world for doing business. Without business participation, it is not possible to design a workable, effective game rule for our future. So business can contribute the majority portion, the major portion of carbon reduction. The business can provide the clean technology. The business can provide the finance needed for a low carbon future. How come we cannot identify a clear role for that business to be engaged in the game rule designing process? Up to now, in Taiwan, the fact is we don't let the business a very clear position in designing the whole game rule for future low carbon world. That is the message I would like to deliver. Thank you.
Yeah, and we are striving to transfer into the low carbon society. It seems that the business sector will function as a solution provider, and just like Dr. Wang emphasized, we can do nothing without their support, and we can do nothing without money. But unfortunately, it seems that the business sector, they've got the logic to convince themselves to be part of this. For instance, he emphasized that business sectors understand the 2050 there is a goal set for the carbon neutral, and they understand they need to take care of the opportunity and competitiveness that derive out of this drive, and also they could understand how important that the international carbon pricing might affect them, and certainly they understand the magnetic effects of the clean technology development, and all this make it possible that the businessmen or business sectors would take the crucial role in the new carbon economy development. And he turned to also the importance that nothing could be done alone by each and every of the private sectors, and also we think that we need to count on the business sector to develop their own strategy to promote this. And certainly he cared about that to the extent the businessmen could really think they can benefit out of the whole scheme. They are willing to do that. So in turn, it becomes very important how the government is the whole thing. And with the government allowed an effective and reasonable position for the business sector to take on this, I think that's what Dr. Guang would like to emphasize. Now it's been 16 past 5, and we are not in delay, okay? So why don't we do that? Let's have about 5 minutes open for discussion. Is that okay? Now I open the floor. Yes. Anyone? Yes. Possibly. Oh. That's okay. Anyone have any questions that would like to ask our panelists right now? Or you would like to leave those questions to be raised in the dinner? Yeah. So maybe we can just, or any of our panelists would like to take the last minute to make a conclusion, maybe rush past. Mr. Dawson and the 2 months. Was that? Okay, now I forward. Oh, okay, last minute. Okay.
For the low carbon future, probably we need a high environmental tax. So with the private sector, set the high tax future.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of business community, business organization, or big company, they have already anticipated high tax, carbon fee, carbon price. It doesn't matter as long as it is a worldwide new game rule for doing business. So everybody will be at the same level. So you can imagine why World Bank and IMF and some developed countries, they create a new alliance for the carbon pricing. Why carbon need a price? Because a lot of developed countries and advanced business, they need to raise the bar for everyone for doing business. So as long as it is a worldwide rule, it doesn't matter. No matter what kind of taxes, because everybody will be equal for doing business.
Yeah, I'm an economist. Actually, I just returned from an international conference in Scotland, and in that conference, there's an economist from Italy presented a paper on the linkage between environmental taxation and pollution or the carbon emission. And so his result indicates that the linkage is characterized by an inverse yield curve, like this, inverse yield. In other words, when the environmental regulation or environmental taxation is getting higher and higher, then eventually the emission or the environmental pollution will decline over time. So the linkage is very similar to what we call environmental acoustic curve, okay, which is also an inverse U-shaped curve. So based on this finding, he implemented an empirical analysis using the data from European countries, and it shows that different countries may have different position of the U-shape. Okay, the position. I mean the top or the bottom top of the curve. Okay, may have different position, but it always indicates it's an inverse U-shape. So in that case, it means higher pollution, higher taxation might be necessary in order to achieve lower environmental pollution.
Okay, now I would like to call the adjournment of the session, and thank you all our panelists, your great presentation, and also all the audience for your participation and valuable contribution. Thank you all.
Thank you to Professor Fan and our panelists. Thank you to our moderator. Please, let's take a group photo. A group photo for all the panelists. Ladies and gentlemen, please one more round of applause. 再次热烈掌声给我们的moderator.